Message from Jim.
Huh?
Desperately seeking Susan. Keep the faith. Tuesday, 10 a.m. Battery Park, Gangway 1. Love, Jim.
Who's Jim?
Oh, God, Tuesday, that's tomorrow.
Who's Susan? You know these people?
No, you see, Jim follows Susan all over the country. Last January, she was in Mexico City, then Seattle. They send messages back and forth. That's how they hook up. Now they're in New York. Desperate. I love that word. It's so romantic.
Everybody I know is desperate except you.
I'm desperate.
You?
Hi, welcome to Bench and Movie Club. I'm Charlie.
No, go on, speak proper.
Hi, welcome to Bench and Movie Club. I'm Charlie.
My name's Ben.
And today we're talking about Ben's choice, Desperately Seeking Susan from 1985, directed by Susan Siddleman. Obviously, with all our podcasts, there's going to be spoilers because we can't talk about the film unless we've seen it. And if you've seen the film, then continue listening.
But if not, then watch the film and then come back to us.
Or it could be a film they're not sure about, so they might think, oh, I'm not sure about Desperately Seeking Susan. Let me listen to the podcast. They might get to a certain bit, you go, you know what, that's it, I'm going to watch this, then pause it and then come back afterwards.
It stars Madonna, who's obviously the pop star from the 80s, 90s, and...
Who was also in?
She's also in Evita, Who's That Girl, Dick Tracy. And there's Rosanna Arquette.
League of Their Own as well, the baseball one.
League of Their Own, that's correct, yeah. And Rosanna Arquette from Pulp Fiction, After Hours, and Nowhere to Run. And Aidan Quinn from Benny and June and Legends of the Fall.
Yeah, and also Will Patton's in it, who plays Wayne Newman.
Who's Will Patton?
Will Patton is the guy who's chasing them, the bad guy.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know him from anything.
He's in Halloween Kills. Do you remember he's like the sheriff in Halloween Kills?
Oh, is he? Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, next time you watch like the Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, he's the one who's sort of buddying up with...
Okay, well, it's hard to sort of tell him from that because this is like...
Well, he's a lot older.
40 years ago.
Yeah, but he's also in The Postman, Armageddon, and I knew him from a Punisher film he was in with John Travolta as well.
Oh, okay, cool.
Also got Laurie Metcalf.
Of course, who's from Roseanne.
Scream 2.
She's, what's it, Jackie from Roseanne.
Yeah, Toy Story, Lady Bird. You've got Mark Blum, who plays Gary, who's in Crocodile Dundee. He died in 2020 from complications associated with COVID-19.
Yeah, I read that.
But I haven't found out anything else. So, like many things like that, you're not sure. Well, he died from something else, and COVID-19 was the cherry on the cake, basically. But obviously, you know.
Oh, you don't know, do you? You don't know if it was that.
Well, he could have had cancer and it just didn't help. He could have been in ill health. It's really hard to find out what was wrong with him.
Yeah.
Stephen Wright's also in it, who plays Larry Stillman. Know the bloke who he's got the funny hair. Who's at the beginning. I think it might be Laurie Metcalf's character. Or it might be, I think it's Laurie Metcalf's character might say, who's he at the party? And they say it's an artist, and he's sort of hanging about with him all the way to the end. And he's got that funny voice.
Yeah.
Because he's also in Natural Born Killers, Reservoir Dogs. He does the DJ's voice.
Okay.
This is Billy Superstar. He's got that kind of voice. John Turturro was in this as well, who is probably, out of all of them, the most successful actor out of all of them. He's the host at Ray, the guy who's hosting they've got the show, the magic show. He's the one, the compere, who says, come on, bring him on, round of applause.
What's he in then?
He's been in loads of Coen Brothers films, Barton Fink, Transformers, Miller's Crossing. He's a really good actor, really good. This is one of his first roles, so you don't get to see how good he is until later in life. Big Lebowski, he was in where he plays Jesus.
I've seen any of them films.
Well, you will eventually. We'll get you onto them. Also, you got Giancarlo Esposito plays the street vendor, which is right near the beginning when she goes to run off all the stuff, and he's like, hey, you ain't paid for it. Yeah. He's out of Breaking Bad.
Okay.
No, the villain, the main villain in Breaking Bad, who blows up and you've got half his face.
Okay, yeah.
He's also in Usual Suspects. Again, this is one of his earliest roles. That's why it's only
that's
like
what
an
I'm saying.
extra.
You wouldn't think like their little bit parts, literally sort of a couple of lines that both these last characters you said.
Yeah.
That you wouldn't really recognise them from later life.
No, Anna Thompson plays Crystal. She's one of the girls You see her early on in it.
Is it her friend?
Yeah,
The one
her
that's
friend.
sitting down on this like the sofa outside with her.
Yeah, she's
glasses.
She's at the beginning of True Romance. The girl who Christian Slater's trying to chat up.
Okay.
She's in Unforgiven. She's the prostitute who has her face all cut up, and she's in The Crow as well.
That's what she's. See, I would have only thought of her from this.
Mm-hmm.
She's like Madonna's friend in it.
Yeah.
Right.
And Robert Joy plays Jim. He's also in Land of the Dead and the new Hills Have Eyes.
Okay.
So there's quite a lot of people in it. But
Yeah, it's a lot more than I thought. 'Cause I only sort of wrote down Madonna, Rosanna Arquette, and Aidan Quinn. Like, obviously there was Laurie Metcalf. I remember her from it. It's the first thing. I think she's done this. Obviously, this was before Roseanne, because Roseanne was 89. But she looks a lot older in this than she did in Roseanne. Because her hair looks really big. It's like a very old-fashioned haircut. Like she doesn't look. It's amazing what a hairstyle can do to a woman. Because when you see her in Roseanne, like even 10 years after this film, she looks a lot younger than she does in this film.
Yeah.
All because of the way that she's dressed and her hair and all that in it.
Yeah, of course. So why did you pick this film then?
Right, well, I absolutely loved Madonna in the 80s when she first came out. I absolutely adored her, and this was an iconic look for me. What she looks like in this is like that's the perfect Madonna.
Yeah,
that's her.
If you went to a party dressed as Madonna, you'd.
Well, I ain't going to go to a party dressed as Madonna, but yeah, if you was to sort of think of an iconic Madonna look, I would say this is her iconic Madonna look. This is her best. This is I loved Madonna. Absolutely, I idolised her up until then. She chopped all her hair off and went all blonde, and then I sort of still liked her, but not as much. But I absolutely loved her when she first came out. I mean, she was just like wow, you know. But yeah, so that was my main thing for actually sort of drawing me to this film. But then the film itself, I absolutely love the film. I think it's a really good story, and I think this is the only film really where Madonna is actually quite believable in the role. And I think she's actually quite a good actress in this. She's not a fantastic actress. I mean, by all means, I think everyone knows that. But she carries this off really well because basically she's playing herself.
Yeah, well, I feel she's actually a better actor than most people sort of give her credit for. Like when she is given roles and she takes them seriously, like the ones we mentioned, League of Their Own, she plays the character well. She's like this feisty sort of girl, which is what she was. Yeah. You know?
But then I've seen her in things like Will and Grace, where I just looked and I thought she's just like
she's phoning it in.
It's just really not. That's
see things like I think it's the early
hit and miss with her. I think this may be where she was so fresh and she was so new to the scene because also an interesting fact about this film. When they started filming this film, she was Madonna. She wasn't really well known. By the end of the film, because Like a Virgin had been released, they had to hire security because everyone was like mobbing her because she suddenly became this mega star. Yeah. Like as soon as that song hit, then it was like wow, she was this massive big star then. So as they started filming she wasn't, but by the end of the film they had to have all the security around them. Yeah. So it's amazing really how someone can change in the space of whatever a few weeks, whatever it was that this film was made.
Yeah, see, I'm not as big a Madonna fan as you are, obviously.
Yeah, I'm not so big on it was 80s Madonna is for me, and maybe a bit of the 90s, a little bit of the 90s.
Erotica.
No, it's just when she sort of started going a bit. See, I'm not that hardcore of a fan of hers now. I think she's a little bit like Baby Jane now, really, to be truthful with you. It's like she's clinging on to her youth, and I just feel, you know, it's quite, I don't know, it's a thing that, listen, no matter how much money you got, you can't change, you can't stop getting old, and you do everything you can to sort of try and slow the process down. It's pretty sad. I see a lot of people do it. I mean, I don't know, I really don't know, but I mean, I loved her from the early 80s. That's my Madonna. That's the Madonna that I idolise, is the early 80s one. Everyone loved her. She was this phenomenon. I can't even say the word.
Phenomenon.
She was this phenomenon. 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 Right, she was that.
Yeah.
Anyway, and everyone dressed like her and all that. She was this. She suddenly catapulted into. Yeah.
She was. There's no denying that. It's like I was always a bigger fan of Cyndi Lauper than Madonna. You know, I liked that Cyndi Lauper almost shunned the limelight because her label wanted her to sort of follow Madonna and follow her trends, but she decided to go against it and do very sort of specific types of music which went against her fan base almost. And Madonna, on the other hand, she knew how to play the game.
Yeah.
Almost like Michael Jackson at the time. She was like the female Michael Jackson. You know, she was the biggest female artist in the world, and arguably probably the biggest female artist
of
ever.
all time, really.
Yeah.
If you think
not saying
about
she's
her.
the best. She's not.
No,
there's better songwriters, better singers.
Yeah.
So much better.
But she, over time, like at the 80s, she burst in just at the right time.
Yeah.
She had just the right look. She was sort
perfect
of
for
punk.
MTV.
She was a bit punky, but a bit sort of street and a bit like... She put on this most random stuff, but it looked good on her. But you'd see a girl that could be even prettier than her try the look, and it didn't look the same. It's like she had an iconic look that... She just, I was fascinated by her when I was younger.
And when I think it was maybe at the Grammys, she done like a virgin, I think, for the first time. And when she was on stage, they were saying that was almost the precise moment when she was born, because everyone was like, "Oh, the hell is this woman?"
Yeah.
It's like sex on stage.
Yeah.
She's sort of launching about on stage and stuff, and they just thought.
And she was very
like,
and I think the thing with her that I do respect is the fact of the matter is she's just done what she wanted, and she pushed the boundaries, and she kept reinventing herself as she's doing now. I mean, so maybe she's still doing the same, but I just think it's quite sad in a way that. It's like she's never going to stop, and it's like people sort of laugh at her a bit now, and she's massively successful. She has done so well, you know. I mean, you know, you can't deny that she's known how to. She's played the game really well, because look at her now, her success. She will sell out a concert. I think her concert still sells out. God knows. You know?
Oh, and they will do, because the fan base is so big. It's one of those things you can't completely kill it off.
Yeah, I wouldn't ever like to meet. I'd never like to meet her, because I think that would completely burst my bubble.
Well, after hearing this, she probably won't want to meet you either.
Yeah, no, probably. Oh no, she's lovely, really. I'm sorry, Madonna. No, but the thing is, I'm just saying as I see it, and I'm saying it's like a lot of people. I mean, I think it's what I see in a lot of people. It's like they're scared of getting old, and it's like you see a lot of like these older movie stars or TV stars, and it's like they keep doing stuff to their face, whereas I do understand. I understand why they do it, because obviously no one likes getting old, especially if you're known for your sort of sexuality and like you're this sex symbol and this, but then it starts disappearing,
and
then
the attention
and also then like there's newer, younger coming out all the time, and it sort of must be. Like, you don't want to let go of that crown, and it's like, but there's nothing you can do, because you're going to get old. And no matter how much money you've got, it's like in Death Becomes Her. I mean, I'm sure everyone would love to have that serum where you just poke it in you, and that's it. All of a sudden, you just suddenly become all young again.
Oh yeah.
You know, but but as I say,
you see, then you've got the end of Death Becomes Her. So
exactly. It shows you that it's not necessarily. It's what I'm saying to you. That's the same with surgery. When you get people going overboard. I understand little people have little bits of tweaks here and there, but you know, it's. I just don't understand it, really. I mean, I do understand it in a way. I understand because of the age thing and people not liking to get old and wanting to capture their youth. I understand, like with Botox, bit of fillers, lips and stuff like that. But you know, when you just see someone walking down the street and it's like so blatant, their face is all like is enhanced. And I think when you can see surgery on someone, then it's not good surgery.
No. Well, see, with Death Becomes Her, the original ending was different to the one that was shown in the film. Because the one in the film, obviously, Bruce Willis's character's died. They're both at his funeral. They fight and they fall down the steps and they break up and stuff.
You're right here. The original ending sounded a lot better, but it didn't go down well with the audiences, which I think it would have been a better ending. Yeah. Go on, carry on.
No, it's right. You might remember it better than me. But it's Bruce Willis has found love. He's turned into an old man, and his wife is an old woman. And you can see they're really happy together. They're holding
kids and grandkids, and they've had the life.
You got them to like. I think it might be Meryl Streep's one, sort of like sneering at her. look how old they look, or something like that. And you can, and I think Goldie Hawn.
Yeah, she's the one that
she looks really sad. She starts crying because you realise.
There's only so many parties they can go to. There's only so many things they can do. It gets boring after a while. Yeah. It's like you just feel like, well, you know, you are only the reason why you age is because you're only meant to be here for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, and you're only supposed to be in that. You're only supposed to be 20 for 10 years. Yeah. You're only supposed to be 30 for 10 years, and so on. And each decade brings you a whole new experience.
Oh yeah, it's and like, you change as a person. I mean, I'm a completely different person to what I was in my teens, and then from then I'm a completely different person from my 20s, from my 30s, and from my 40s. You know, you change massively. Like I wouldn't be friends with me in my 20s or me in my 30s even. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm so completely different. different to that person.
absolutely. I see people where I work. There's loads of people who work for me who are in their 20s, early 20s, and I look at them sometimes, and you can see how fresh-faced they are, but also how naive they are, and how they...
And insecure. When they've got everything going for them at that age, when you've got it all, it's true when they say youth is wasted on the young, because you look at yourself when you're young and you pull yourself to pieces, I'm not good enough, not good enough. Then 20, 30 years later, you look at yourself, you feel like going back there and slapping the hell out of yourself.
To an extent, yeah, but I actually prefer how I am now.
I do.
I look at my pictures of me, I remember how I was.
Yeah.
I was very skinny in my 20s and sort of very...
I prefer myself
geeky.
now.
And my hair, when I had hair, and I just never knew what to do with it. And I think as you get older, you sort of settle in your skin.
Yeah.
Like a worn-in leather jacket. It's like imagine a brand new leather jacket, and you think it's all right, but it's going to look so much better when it's older, when it's sort of worn in and stuff. And I think it's one of those things that once you get there, as long as you enjoy it, you let yourself age. Then you can appreciate it more. You think, I don't mind, I've got a little bit of a cut now, you know.
Yeah, I actually, it's weird though, I actually feel better now, even though obviously I'm a lot older than what I was then. And you know, and you've got more lines, and you've got bloody hairs fucking pop out of your bloody eyebrows every now and again and shit like that. But you know, like you look and you think, yeah, but I feel better in myself. I feel like I'm coming into myself now. Yeah. You know, you sort of find yourself, didn't you, as years go on, you know. But anyway, back to the film. This film cost $5 million to make, and it made $27.3 million in the box office.
It would have cost them a lot more if they'd made it a year later, wouldn't they? With Madonna, her price tag would have gone higher. Sum up the film for people who haven't seen it then.
Right, the film is about Madonna. She's like this sort of carefree, sort of hustlery sort of type girl.
She's like this is the thing. Sorry to interrupt.
If there's a bit of drilling, there's people are doing renovating in a house at the back there, so there's
giving
nothing
Madonna
really
a new facelift.
Yeah, they're drilling into it. Yeah, no.
When I never watched this film for years.
Yeah.
I watched it once last year.
Yeah.
And once again when you mentioned that you want to do it for this podcast. And my perception of the film was, it's a Madonna vehicle. I assumed she was the main character because also she's on the poster.
Yeah.
She is Susan, as in the title, and I thought it was all going to be about her.
No.
And I was pleasantly surprised that she was taking a back seat. I didn't know about her not being famous yet. And I was thinking, I like that her ego hasn't got in the way that she has to play the other one.
Yeah.
And she fits this role so well.
This is her when you would have liked to meet her, because she probably would have been approachable then, because this is all new to her. And this is her at her best.
And Rosanna Arquette, who plays the lead in this is the first time I've really sort of paid attention to her. I know she was in Pulp Fiction and After Hours, which I love both of them films, but she's a secondary character. This one, she gets to play the lead. Yeah. And she actually reminded me a lot of Scarlett Johansson. She looks a lot like Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, she's got a look of Scarlett Johansson. I can see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
Also, she's obviously a part of the Arquette family.
Yeah.
Which is...
who we spoke about previously.
Yeah, there's Patricia Arquette's her sister.
Yeah.
David Arquette is her brother. Alexis Arquette was her brother.
There was another Arquette.
And there's the Arquette that's in that film 7 at the end.
That's right. Yeah.
He's the one that drives the van.
That's right, yeah. Well,
right at the very
I knew we spoke about him recently. Yeah, it's another Arquette.
But he's like the one, he's you don't really know his name. But you know David Arquette was married to Courtney Cox when he's in Scream and stuff. Patricia Arquette, she was in Nightmare on Elm Street, True Romance. Alexis Arquette was actually probably in more films than all of them. He was in Pulp Fiction, wasn't he?
He had a small part in Pulp Fiction.
Wedding Singer.
Last Exit to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I think David Arquette possibly...
It was in Never Been Kissed, David Arquette, with Drew Barrymore as well.
And Eight-Legged Freaks, the Scream franchise.
I think they've all done well. Listen, they've all had successful careers, and they're all still working as far as I know, apart from Alexis Arquette, who died a few years back.
But anyway, sorry, so back to the plot, so go on.
Yeah, she's a bit of Madonna's a bit of a sort of a flighty type of girl that's just sort of doing her own thing.
She's like the it girl of that neighbourhood. Yeah. Everyone's sort of bowled over by her. She's
spent the night with this bloke. She's found his earrings in his bag and she's just nicked them anyway. This person that she nicked the earrings from was a gang member or something, or a mobster or something that he's been killed, thrown out of this hotel bedroom window where she's been with him.
By Will Patton.
Yeah.
And as she was leaving, Will Patton sees her jacket, which has the Illuminati symbol on it, doesn't it?
It's got like it's got that
It's got the Illuminati, the
sort
eye,
of thing.
the Illuminati eye.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that means anything.
I don't think it did back then.
Some
I don't
conspiracies.
think...
No, it always does. It always has.
Has it?
But conspiracy theorists would obviously look at it and say that is because Madonna's attached or whatever.
Yeah, but Madonna was too young then.
No.
Madonna wasn't even in anything.
Or the director or whatever. But I honestly think it is purely because at the time in the 80s they would latch on to any kind of symbols.
Yeah.
They would have seen that on the dollar bill and gone, oh, stick that on the jacket. You know, I don't think it was intentional.
No.
But it's very prominent because it's part of the plot.
Yeah.
Because obviously that's why he thinks Roberta is Susan, because he sees the jacket. He only saw her from behind, didn't he? When she was bending down.
Yeah, see, okay, so anyway, Rosanna Arquette is a bored housewife. She follows these stories in the paper between Susan and, is it Jimmy, her boyfriend?
Yeah.
And they say they contact each other via this newspaper every now and again. So she goes to sort of spy and sort of she's curious to see what this Susan looks like, and then she becomes sort of obsessed with her because she's looking about like living the life that I suppose she wants to.
No, it's a gradual sort of
it's hard to explain.
Set piece to set piece. It sort of goes into one thing leads to another.
But it's a good film. The Rotten Tomatoes, it got 84% by the critics and 62% by the audience.
Yeah.
And IMDb got 6.1.
So it got more by the critics than the audience.
Yeah. And I'm surprised at that because
I think the audience.
Madonna.
Yeah, but that might be why, because there are loads of people who don't like Madonna.
Yeah, but a lot of people would have seen this film because they love Madonna. Because this would have come out at a height of when she would have just started.
But loads of the audience-wise would be people who they might not have even seen the film.
Yeah,
but
then I would have thought the critics then would have been lower than the audience. Because the critics would have been more judgmental against her because she's a pop star.
Yeah, but I also think the majority of the critics, the things they would have got it from would have been off the time.
Oh, okay.
And like you said, she was new to it, and like how Lady Gaga is probably comparable, so she's acting as well as starring in things, and the critics have been fairly kind to her, saying, no, she's a good actor, she's fine.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think Madonna was totally fine. She fits the role.
She fits the role perfectly. You know, there's no... I mean, what was it? I'll tell you some people that was put up for the role. Melanie Griffith auditioned. Kelly McGuinness from Top Gun. Jennifer Jason Leigh, who was in Single White Female with Bridget Fonda. Also Ellen Barkin. Yeah. She's in a film called Switch, I believe, is it? Where she switches from a man to a woman.
Right.
80s film, I'm sure, something like that. And Suzanne Vega, the singer.
Oh, okay.
Which is unusual, you know, because I didn't even know she'd done acting. But Suzanne Vega, the singer, she also auditioned. But the filmmakers actually wanted Goldie Hawn and Diane Keaton for the lead roles. So Goldie Hawn would have been Madonna's role.
I could have seen Goldie Hawn doing it because she was very flaky.
And she would have actually been quite... Because if you think Goldie Hawn in 1985, she would have looked really good. She would have actually probably carried it off really well.
Just about after Private Benjamin, wasn't it?
Yeah, so, and she looked at kind of like round about Overboard sort of time. All that... Our House Sitter was later. So she was very young and really sort of attractive and good comedy as well, Goldie Hawn. She's good at comedy. So, so she would have been quite good. And also Diane Keaton would have been like the Rosanna Arquette.
Oh, okay.
Also another thing, Madonna recorded a song called Desperately Seeking Susan that was cut from the film. Which is smags.
Have you ever heard it?
I've never heard it. I didn't even know about it until I read about it last night. And Rosanna Arquette won a BAFTA for this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she won a BAFTA.
I can see that because she was, as I said, this is the first time I've really noticed that. I've noticed David Arquette, Patricia Arquette and Alexis Arquette sort of stand out, and I knew Rosanna Arquette was in Pulp Fiction because of the poster, and I knew which part she'd played.
But she was the first, I think, out of all of her siblings to make it. I think she was... Because if you think this is 85, I don't think none of them was acting at that time. They all come around about in the 90s.
Yeah.
All the others.
Well, Patricia Arquette, who was Nightmare on Elm Street 3, that was... couple of years after this.
Yeah, but it was Rosanna Arquette. I don't think there's any of them before Rosanna Arquette. I think this was... Yeah. And I don't know if Rosanna Arquette had another big main film that I can think of before this, or this might have been a sort of starring main sort of role, you know?
I'll look it up.
Also, did you know Bruce Willis auditioned for the role as Madonna's boyfriend?
What, the one who asks him to go?
Yeah.
He auditioned for that?
Yeah. I think Moonlighting was round about mid-80s. So he would have been what he looked like in Moonlight. He would have been quite good in it, I think. Also, did you know, like, you know the jacket that she wears in the film?
Yeah.
It sold for £225,000.
Wow.
And one of the earrings sold for £34,000.
All because Rosanna Arquette wore it?
Yeah, no, Madonna.
Yeah.
The producers tried to get Kevin Costner and Dennis Quaid as well.
Ah.
So they would have probably been playing opposite Goldie Hawn and Diane Keaton. If they'd got it.
Leading up to this, Rosanna Arquette was in a number of TV series, TV movies. Her first film, More American Graffiti, so that would have been a sequel to American Graffiti, which looks terrible. Gulp, which was 3.5, that looks terrible. That's from 1980. SOB, more TV series, TV movie.
Yeah.
Baby It's You, Jill, Off the Wall.
See, I think her first big main thing.
This would definitely have been her breakthrough then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, did you know it also had the original ending was them two, rather than them getting back with the boyfriends, they was invited to Egypt to return the earrings, and then their last scene on some camels next to the pyramids, which I've seen that ending. It's a cut, don't really work really well. I like it with the cinema bit that she's in the booth with him and the film goes and Madonna is sitting there with her boyfriend watching the film, and it's just a nice little ending with the song Get Into the Groove comes up.
Yeah.
But I really like the film though. I loved it. As I say, it's one of them films. Some films date and get old. It's like, what is it? 38 years old. This film. Yeah, 38 years
38.
old. So it's an old film. It's an old film, but I still do like this film, and it's that nice little sort of touch of 80s nostalgia.
Yeah,
I think I love
80s.
that kind of. I love anything where it takes you away from the crap of today.
What was the Madonna song at the end credits?
Into the Groove.
Into the Groove, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, because that was obviously by the time they'd come to editing this, that was probably been released at that point.
So the makers of the film were rubbing their hands together.
Yeah.
What good timing that we've got this girl just before.
As she's broken into stardom. At the beginning of the film, she was just some singer. She hadn't done nothing that had broke through, but Like a Virgin was her breakthrough song, and that was released in the middle of her doing this filming. But by the end, you know what I mean, she was a different person.
Yeah.
So it was like that's when she changed into Madonna from the beginning of that film to the end of that film.
It would have been like if they'd made it in '98 and they'd cast Britney Spears after seeing her on the Mickey Mouse Club, thinking, "Oh, she's alright." Then all of a sudden, "Hit Me Babies" come out halfway through filming.
Yeah.
They'd be thinking, "Brilliant."
Yeah.
Stick her on a poster.
The equivalent of that, exactly.
Yeah.
But then I think what they done because of that, they added a few more scenes or bits more of her
For
in
her
that
to do it.
to sort of stretch it out a bit more to sort of make the most of
Well, yeah,
make the
you
most
would
of
do
it.
wouldn't you? Make the most of
Exactly,
it.
and also they gave her acting lessons as well because
Yeah.
I think it was the director, that woman. What did you say her name was? I think she's the one that fought for Madonna to be cast in it, because I think she said that she'd known Madonna from the streets and all that, from like clubs and stuff, and she just pictured her playing this role perfectly.
Susan Siddleman.
That's it. I think it was her. She championed her. She said, like, I want her for this role because she knew her before all the film come about, and she sort of, I suppose, she visualised her in this role because she knew her as a person, and so she sort of looked and probably thought, that's the character who I want. She doesn't have to act any different. That is the person who I'm thinking of as Susan.
Sort of like we said previously with Rob Reiner. He weren't going to interview John Cusack. Then as soon as he met him, that's him. That's like me when I was younger.
Yeah.
That's the guy I want. Yeah. Sometimes you just know. You just have an instinct. You think that's the guy I want. They're perfect. Or that's the guy
You might have a completely different idea in your head, but then you see someone do the role and you go, I didn't think of it that way. Oh my God, it's like a whole new...
Yeah.
It gives it a whole new sort of life to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so did you like the film?
No. No, I did like the film.
Who'd you watch it with?
Both times.
Did Lily see it?
Yeah, Mum and Lil.
And she liked it, yeah?
Yeah, and I liked the film. It was better than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I wasn't over the moon about.
Oh no,
watching it.
I know it ain't one of your favourite films. It's like the films that you've made me watch. I've been like a couple of them. I've been like.
But no, I
good.
enjoyed that it wasn't the Madonna show, because even though when Madonna was younger and when I was younger, I used to fancy her. I thought, oh yeah, she's quite nice. You know, she looks slutty. But I was never interested in watching her films.
No.
You know, and
like even though I was a big fan of hers, like I never watched. I don't think I ever watched that Shanghai Surprise because I'd sort of gone off of her a bit by then. When she had all that bleached blonde hair and all that short and that muscly look, it sort of I went off of her. I loved her, like from the beginning
Fresh and
to
new,
when
yeah.
to probably till just before she had all her hair cut off, because that's the Madonna, like, that kind of like the shaggy sort of blondie streaky hair and the bangles, and that is the look I like. But then, as you say, you got to respect her, because look at the transformations, and she's done amazingly. You know,
Yeah.
she had an amazing
What is
career.
it? She couldn't have stayed like that because she would have just failed.
Of course,
she had to
reinvent
the
herself.
same way as Bowie or Prince or even Michael Jackson, to an extent, Elton
Yeah, in fact,
John.
no, yeah,
they,
a lot of them don't.
they have
They
to,
do
they
reinvent
have to
themselves.
reinvent themselves
Yeah.
to stay relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I did enjoy it. Sometimes there's things which I take issue with, which I shouldn't really. There's things like people sleeping around, and I think they're making it a joke. At the end of the day, like I'm not. It's like someone going on about the sanctity of marriage. So they go, well, okay, they're married. She shouldn't be sort of down here, but her excuse is obviously the amnesia.
But she doesn't know. That's what I'm saying. She doesn't. Even
She
know
doesn't
she's
know,
married.
but we as the audience know. And some people might feel uncomfortable. Go, well, I don't feel comfortable with this woman sleeping with this bloke.
Yeah, but she's not happy in her life as well. That's what
I get all
look at
that.
as well.
I get all that. But then someone else would argue, say, well, she should split from her husband first, even though her husband's a scumbag and he's cheating and he's, you know.
Well, that's it. Yeah, I think
But
it's cheating
she
as well,
doesn't.
isn't it?
Yeah, but if she doesn't know that, for her to be a morally person who you can get behind, you wouldn't want her to be like him. And she's not, because as I said, I think the amnesia gives her the excuse that she doesn't know that she's who she is.
But you can see why she is fascinated with Madonna, because if you look at her life, she's got the lovely, she's got all the money, the love, like the rich,
Yeah.
all the niceties in life, and she's got this husband who doesn't even listen to her, and she's like a trophy wife, and she's bored. So she doesn't want all that,
but people
and then
get
she
bored.
goes out and then she looks and she sort of sees this woman that it just looks like she's living her life, and she looks and she just sort of becomes obsessed with her, and then her amnesia then sort of turns her into her a bit, and she gets her memory back.
Yeah.
Then she sort of has found herself by that point anyway, so she realises she'd rather be with Aidan Quinn rather than with Mark Blum, Gary Glass.
What I'm saying is, I even though I can see the faults in marriage, I know there'll be loads of people who think about the sanctity of marriage and they think people get bored all the time. And all the marriages that we know that have lasted 60, 70 years and stuff, they went through those hard times. They went through the times when they was bored and they was both tempted to... And rather than go elsewhere, they talked to each other and they worked through it.
So unfortunately, that's what a lot of people do nowadays.
Yeah, this is it. Marriage fails so quickly nowadays, and this is just...
Especially
I think it was
nowadays,
just
even more than then, especially because it's so easy, because you've got apps.
If it was more of a drama, then it would be forgiven. But I think it was more because it was a comedy, I think.
But it's a
something
nice,
like that.
light-hearted film, though, isn't it?
It is, of course it is. And most people will watch it and just enjoy it.
It's not
for that.
taxing on the brain. It's easy just to watch, and also a bit of nostalgia. It takes you back to a time when things were a little bit simpler.
Yeah.
You know?
But no,
because
it's-
even in our own brains, you remember the 80s, what you was like in the
Yeah.
80s, because you was born in 82, weren't you?
Yeah.
So, like, you remember the 80s as your little childhood. So it's like, that's your
Oh,
sort
and I
of
love,
era.
yeah, and I love 80s culture and
Yeah.
anyway. No, it was a good film. I enjoyed
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah.
So, okay, then, let me hear what you're going to be talking about. What film we're going to be doing next week, then?
it. Okay. So, this film, actually, I was going to almost mention it this time around because we was talking about people ageing.
Right.
And this film, you can see the attitude towards death for young people and old people.
Okay.
So don't be put off
Oh, for fuck's sake, what is it?
because it's a Western.
I don't like Westerns.
I do like this particular one. I'm not a huge one. Ben, just don't worry. It's a good film. I really like it.
Alright.
I made Lily watch it yesterday. She's not a fan of Westerns and she liked it.
Yeah, she's probably on her phone the whole time. Unforgiven.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood, Gene Hackman, Morgan Freeman, Richard Harris.
Yeah.
When is this? Oh, it ain't an old black and white
No,
Western.
it's
then.
92. Remember I said pick a year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you maybe pick a year. Why don't you just say the names of the films and I would have gone, no,
Because
that
I
film.
feel less guilty about
You give me
making
4
watch it.
years. You said 1958, was it?
1957, 1990, 92 and...
2001.
No, 98.
Or 1999 or something.
99, that was it, yeah.
And I thought, oh, 92 is probably going to be something like Misery or something.
It's probably, out of the four of them, it's the one I can see feeling most...
Yeah, so you laughed when I said 92. Why don't you just tell me?
No, the
I'll give
reason
it a go,
being
but I
is-
don't like Westerns, Charles.
Listen, but this is the misconception people have about this, because people look at this and think, oh, it's a Western. Just because it's set as a Western, it's not. It's a drama about...
Don't expect me to make loads of notes about it then.
Well, when do you ever? No,
when
but
it's one of my films.
it's
What about when I done, what was it, the other week when I had about 5 or 6 pages. It was something that I wanted to do. You went, how come you've done so many notes? What did you do on, what was it? What did you do on Drive the week before? And I'd done like a sort of quarter of a page.
Paragraph, yeah. Honestly, stay open-minded about it.
Right.
Don't watch it with other people. Just sit there and watch it without your phone in your hand. And the payoff at the end
Is it a long film though?
No, it's 2 hours.
Well, that's a long film then. I was
Not
hoping it's like
really.
an hour and 20 minutes
Listen,
or
some
something.
westerns go on for like close to 3 hours.
All right, listen, I'll give it a go.
But don't think of it as a
But
western.
why do you like it then?
I'll discuss that next week.
Okay.
Because it's I like it as a drama about getting old, about losing people's bravado that you have as a kid.
I think maybe we'll do. I think the week after we're going to need to do a horror film or a musical. I think we ain't done
it's
a musical
fine.
or a horror.
But this is the other
I've
thing.
got to think of something.
We haven't done westerns. There's quite a few westerns I like.
Oh, you're
and
not going to be
all
picking
of
those westerns,
no.
are you? Because
No,
I really can't.
But there
be
is
doing
there
that.
is like about throughout the time that we do this podcast, there might be half a dozen westerns which I think you will like. But out of all of them...
But can they come later on and we're talking about episode 260
This
or
is the
something?
most accessible one, because...
Is it a well-known film then?
Well, look, one of best film Oscar in 1992.
You ain't just stuck that on the DVD then?
It's very...
All right, okay,
no,
all jokes aside, I'll give it a go.
Directed by Clint Eastwood, who's a good director. He made like a...
I think the only film I like of him is it Harry Brown?
No, that was Michael Caine.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. He was in one similar to that.
That's right, it is Michael Caine. It is Michael Caine. I remember that.
No, he's $1 Million Baby. Remember that one with the boxer?
I didn't watch it. It's not my thing.
Okay. We're going to watch this then. All right?
There's so many films that you know that I like that you like as well. Why can't you pick something?
Well, you
that we
could have
can
picked
both
one the
like?
other years. I'll tell you what the other films were if you want.
Yeah, go on.
Right, so 57, if you'd picked that, you'd have had Vertigo.
Okay, I wouldn't mind Vertigo.
If you'd picked 1990, it'd have been Ghost.
Well, I would have liked to have done Ghost.
If you'd picked 99, it would have been Stir of Echoes.
Oh, for fuck's sake, this is the one that's out of all of them, the only one I wouldn't want to watch.
This is why I thought...
Right, okay, well, obviously I've got to watch that film then. So, this is us signing off till next week when we've got the fantastic film Unforgiven.
It's a good film.
All right, I'll trust your judgment. Hopefully it's a good film. If it ain't, then I'm going to have the right arm, because I'll be falling asleep.
Well, you can get me back with the next one.
Thanks for listening, and hopefully we'll catch up with you soon. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Susan! What are you doing here?
I got good news and bad news. What do you want to hear first?
You said you were going to leave.
Okay, good news first. Your wife isn't partners with the greaseball.
Susan, my wife has just been picked up on the Lower East Side, escaping from her gun-toting pimp.
He's not a pimp.
He's not a pimp.
He's not a pimp.
The bad news is that he's probably going to kill her because he thinks she's me.
What?
Did you ever read this? She kept a diary. It's great stuff. Couldn't sleep. Went into kitchen. Gary came in. Turned on light. Gary left. Finished birthday cake. Pages of it. It's gotta be a cover. Nobody's life could be this boring.